vantage point. I'm Bradley. Today we're going to talk about a new model, which is flux2 klein, that has been released several days ago. Will a 9B flux2 klein model be run on the 6600XT with only 8GB VRAM? Yes, definitely yes. If you want to know how, just stick to the end. And before we move on to this workflow, we need to take care of several prerequisites. The first one is a Zluda comfyui updates, and it is called COD and wrapper. Remember, in my previous videos, we'll always need this toggle node to disable or enable COD before and after VAE node. And with this new update, it will be taken care of by the comfyui automatically. It will add the wrapper around the VAE node, and the wrapper will take care of the enable and disabling thing. If you want to know how to install it, just go to this repo and copy the address and go to this Zluda comfyui custom node, type cmd, and under this directory you type git clone and you paste the address and press enter. I will not do this because I already done this, and it will install the wrapper automatically. Because I'm off in a vacation, so I am not at home, I use a remote connection to connect to back my home. And the other thing we're going to talk about is CFZ saving condition node, because we are using the 8B clip text encoder, which is very big. Text encoder is about 16 gigabytes. So we actually split the workflow into two sections. The first section is we're gonna generate the positive and negative prompt and save it on the disk. And this is the first execution of this workflow. And we use this two-node preview node, and you press this start button and this start button to generate the positive and negative conditionings before the main workflow is running. And after you've done this, you click this run button to run the whole workflow, and the workflow will skip the condition generating process, and it will load the main model and begin the denoising process. Okay, this is the second prerequisite. And the third one is the model. You need to download 3 models. The first one is the klein, the flux2 klein 9B main model. It is a distilled model, so you can generate images in 4 steps. And the second one is the text encoder, which I've just talked about. And the third one is VAE. It is used for flux2, so you need to download this VAE. And I will leave the download link in the description below. And fourth prerequisite is you should update comfyui to the latest version, and you don't need to do it manually. It will be taken care of by this comfyui user.batch. Every time it starts comfyui, it will update the comfyui automatically for you. So it is been taken care of, and I just mentioned it, so you have to do it. Okay, that's all the prerequisites of this workflow. So let's get back to the main workflow. And the first thing I want to talk about is I add this switch node, which you can switch between prompts. I've added 6 prompts, so you don't need to edit one, and if you want to change, you have to add it again. So with 6 prompt node, you can edit node in each one. So, and you can choose using this switch, so it's very convenient. And another thing I want to talk about is I add these 3 images editing area. And when you do a text to image generation, you don't need these 3 groups enabled. You can disable it using this flux group bypasser. And when you do a 1 image editing, because this image is generated by a text to image workflow, and I just copy the end result here. And with 1 image edit, you can change this car's color from white to blue, just as this prompt said. Change the color of the car from white to blue. What you need to do is you need to enable this image group and generating the positive and negative conditions. The reason I add this is because I have 32 gigabytes of system RAM. It's very limited. If you have 64 gigabyte RAM, you don't need to do this separately. You can do this in one go. And if you want to change the color of this car from white to blue, you just enable this group and you press this run button, and workflow will change this car's color from white to blue. And if you want to add this woman to this picture, and this is the 2 pictures edit, you need to enable this one and generating positive and negative conditions using this 2 node. And after that, press the run button, and the workflow will add the woman to this car. And even you want to include the 3rd image. Say you want to put this woman in this image in front of the car, and the woman is holding this bag. So you need to enable this image 3 group, and the workflow will edit these 3 images and generate a final image for you. Okay, this is the most important thing about this workflow, and the main part of this workflow is just as the workflows I've talked about in the previous videos. You just create an empty latent using your input, width and height. You define this before the running of the workflow, and you create an empty latent and attach the latent to this area. And the second thing is you need to do this flux2 scheduler, and step is set to 4 because it is a distilled model. It's not a base model, so you only need 4 steps, and you should connect this width and height to this scheduler. And CFG guider, you need to connect positive and negative conditions and models to this guider, and CFG is set to 4. It is recommended by the officials. And the last one is random noise. You use a random noise generator and connect it to this noise generation input. This is all the input of this sampler, and the output will be connected to this VAE decode, and it will the image will be decoded from latent space to pixel space. And these 2 are just as my previous videos. It's RAM cleanup, VRAM cleanup, and images will be saved in this save image node. See, you have this green AMD icons here because I've installed the wrapper node, the new update wrapper node, and when you move the cursor around above this icon, it will say AMD detected COD is currently enabled, and it means your wrapper is correctly installed. Okay, that's the whole workflow. I will do demonstration, generating a, instead of white, we generating a yellow BMW 7 series. And first, we need to generate the positive conditions, and after the workflow run through, means here it says idle, and you should generate the negative conditions, and we'll queue this. And the third one will be the main workflow. After the two conditions has been generated, I will run the workflow. So it will take a while. See, the positive conditions has been generated and saved to disk. And when you preview it as text, it will be seen as a tensor. It's a list of numbers. It is where the images and conditions is being encoded into this vector space. Okay, I will pause the video here and I will come back later. Okay, the workflow has run through, and the positive prompt is generated in 70 seconds, and the negative prompt is generated in 11 minutes. That's add up to 80 seconds. And the denoising process has cost 211 seconds, and the whole time adds up to 300 seconds. That's 5 minutes, and the result is pretty good, I think. And the time is decent for a 6600XT with 8GB VRAM. And another thing I want to talk about is, I want to mention is that although my AMD 6600XT supports PCIe 4 8-speed, but my motherboard only has a PCIe 3 8-speed slot, so you can expect a 30 to 40% gain if the card is in its perfect condition. Means it runs in full speed. Okay, that wraps up today's video. If you like my video, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. And thanks for watching, and see you next time.